department of anesthesiology and intensive care medicine. We'll be talking about neurodegeneration and neuroregeneration in the central nervous system in nanometrics.
Okay, thank you very much. This is a great honor for me to be here, and after listening so much excellent talks, including Nobel laureate, I will not take much of your time. But my message is very simple. We have to think about some new ideas that is working nowadays since last 10 years in our knowledge, and we have to include these ideas in the development of novel drug therapies to treat diseases. This work is in collaboration with various US government. This is EOARD, European Office of Aerospace Research and Development, Swedish Strategic Research Foundation, and NCTR, National Center of Toxicological Research, Air Force Office of Research, and Government of Sweden. The idea is that we are living in this world where we have different kinds of injuries occurring at various places in the world. I have to state that whatever I am speaking, these are my personal views and it has nothing to do with any official government views. Why we need nanotechnology today? The idea is we have developed so much drugs, but to our knowledge, none of the drugs are able to cure the patient up to that level that we really wanted. One of the aspects is that the blood-brain barrier is hindering the process of drug transfer. On the other hand, when this barrier is broken down, we have all kinds of pathologies. My interest in blood-brain barrier was very early in 1982 when I was working in India. And here I can tell you that we have to understand the function of neurons as well as the physiological aspect of regulating them. And this is the endothelial cells. They are much more in number than in the brain, the neurons and glial cells. So therefore, it is very important. On the one hand, we have to protect the blood-brain barrier in our brains, but on the other hand, when they are broken down in all kinds of disease process, we have to restore them. The anatomical site of blood-brain barrier is the tight junctions present between the two endothelial cells. I have an interest in blood-brain barrier, and I am trained by Professor Servus Navarro from Germany in Berlin. This is an old picture. But we believe that any kind of CNS insult will open this barrier leading to cell injury. But now we have to think entire another thing. Do we believe that brain or spinal cord injury occurring in a very innocuous place, in a good place, could be similar to those that we have seen in our soldiers placed at different parts of the world, including, for example, here, exposure to silica dust, exposure to various kinds of missile explosion, different kinds of fine particles in the environment, and they get injury. These are the pictures showing that our soldiers face lots of environmental problems. And as Professor Vaughan will show that music affects brain, I am talking on the other way around, that the environmental factors also affect the brain, probably in an adverse way. So these are the situations when our soldiers get injury. I don't believe that their brain and spinal cord injury will respond to that normally we see in the clinical cases. Therefore, we have to understand much better when these soldiers or human beings are exposed to different kinds of nanoparticles, drugs, toxins. These are the common pictures nowadays. So we have to think how these nanoparticles or environmental factors affect the pathophysiology, and on the other hand, do we require to change the course of the drugs or develop effective drug treatment that can treat some aspect of these situations. We wanted to show these aspects, and in 2009 we showed a progress in brain research volume, highlighted the problems of these nanoparticles and nanoneuropharmacology. We also discussed one of the Nobel laureates, Aaron Tizianover, about this because he is doing ubiquitin, and we have studied the effect of ubiquitin or its metabolism. Under these circumstances they are different. Due to lack of time, I am not showing these results to you. So the point is, why we need nanomedicine? We have already pharmacological development. The idea is that it is possible that when we deliver the same drug using nanotechnology, they are doing better. The second thing, probably they might have long-lasting effects than the parent drug. It could rapidly penetrate into the central nervous system. Maybe it is a bit resistant to degradation. But we have to consider the neurotoxic aspect of these drugs. The other question we wanted to know, there are different ways of nano delivery using different nanomaterials. Whether all produce same results, or it also depends on the way we are delivering the drugs using nanotechnology. So we are working on this problem. And basically, I am a neuropathologist trained under Professor Ingve Olsen. He was once the international president of Neuropathological Society. So I see my observations in pathological way using light and electron microscope. We try to highlight some of the aspects of novel ideas in neuroprotection on which we are working. And then we also have to find some regulation that Food and Drug Administration in the United States is doing. So we are also collaborating with US FDA. This is Dr. William Slicker. He is director of one of the FDA institutes in the United States. I show you some very simple problems. When our soldiers are in combat position or doing anything, one of the greatest problems is sleep deprivation. And some of the research my wife has done earlier, and we presented this work in North American Brain Injury Association last year. I will just show you some examples. Our soldiers have to live this kind of life when they are completely devoid of sleep. Do we believe that their cognitive functions are as good as ours when we have long times of sleep? Do we believe that when these soldiers get injured, the pathophysiology of the spinal or brain injury could be similar? I don't think so. These are the examples given in the military records that whenever we have longer duration of sleep, average 4 to 6 hours, our cognitive function, our mental function is better. The another example is that 72 hours of sleep deprivation. You can see that simple mathematical function by the brain is deteriorating. Here you can see that different deprivation of sleep can produce different results. So the point is that what are those basic things? Probably the neurochemistry is changed. Probably the other factors are also altered. What will happen when these soldiers get injured at different kinds of sleep deprivation? I'm showing these examples. We developed a model in our laboratory of 24 to 72 hours sleep deprivation. And as you can see here, that the neuropathological changes are much higher in those cases with 72 hours of sleep deprivation. When we have added some common nanoparticles like copper and silver, we can see the neural damages are much more worse. Then we are working with US FDA, and then we can see that is there any way we can develop some kind of drugs that is much more efficient and making better neuroprotection than the ordinary drugs. These are not our research, this is now nanocarpeting, when the drug is labeled around this and delivered to the spinal cord injury, either locally, topically or injected. They are showing much better results than the drug alone. This is the original paper I am showing to you. We also highlighted some of the aspects that in human cases, when we get injury, either some of them have hypertension, diabetes or many other factors. I don't believe that when spinal cord or brain injury occurring in those type of patients, the result is same, and we should give the same drug that we are giving to healthy animals. In such circumstances, I want to share with you that whatever the animal experiments are done in laboratories nowadays, all are healthy animals. And then on those healthy animals, we are applying injury. And then we are testing drugs. I don't believe that this is very similar to the clinical situations. I can tell you that there is a lot of difference when we see the healthy animals. Of course, you know very well that we cannot replicate human situations. For example, spinal cord injury. In human cases, when there is a motor vehicle accident, always injury occurs to the ventral side. And in conscious situations. But in experimental situations, we give them anesthesia, do the spinal cord injury on the dorsal side, and study. So we can't replicate these human cases in experimental situations. So therefore, we need to devise some different kind of ideas or strategies that can be able to have much more clinical fruits. I'm showing some examples in nanomedicine in Alzheimer's disease. Most of you know that this is a very old disease discovered by German scientist Alzheimer, and here is our brains can look after the Alzheimer's disease, and lots of functions are altered pathologically, and I do not have time to go, so I can only tell you that tau proteins or A beta peptide is more important. I can show you some examples. When many factors are altered in a given human body, how we are going to treat with one or two molecules of the drug? This is almost impossible. We should have a multimodal drug that can have wide-ranging effects to control many of the aspects in cases of injury. We tested one example with cerebrolizine. This is a drug made in Austria, and it has multimodal drugs. It is a mixture of different type of neurotrophic factors and active peptide fragments. This was a testing thing. Then we tried to deliver with normal and nano delivery. We used nanowire. Nanowire, Dr. Young is the father of nanowire, but these nanowiring was done for electronic purposes. We used in biological purposes, and we have a lab in University of Fayetteville, Arkansas. This is the ex-governor now. He is helping us in a much better way. This is Dr. Ryan Tian and Dr. Wang. They have the US patent of nanowiring. So they label the drug with nanowires, titanium nanowires, and we deliver them. This is an example of titanium nanowire. And there are several laboratories have shown that when even stem cells are nanowired, they can live longer, they can have better results in experimental situations. And this nanowiring of cerebrolizine is also recognized in one of the National Innovation Summits in the United States in 2013. It got top 20% of technological award. We are very happy, and also come in different types of like newspapers and other things. So the point is here that we have a model in Alzheimer's disease. We measured A beta in cerebral cortex. We have this knockout mice. When we have given cerebrolizine alone, you can see that there is certain reduction in A beta protein. But when we have given nanowire cerebrolizine, this is very similar to the normal situation. We have tested our hypothesis again using tau protein, and you can see that this nanowire cerebrolizine is doing much more better than the cerebrolizine alone. The point is that the nano delivery of the same drug has improved benefits. Then we went to the cellular level, as we are neuropathologists. You can see here that A beta peptide infusion induced brain pathology. You can see that in diabetes cases, the pathology is much more worse than the normal healthy situations. When we have given titanium level nanowire cerebrolizine, we can get much better result. In this situation, if we give cerebrolizine alone, the same good drug has very little effects. So my point is that we have to understand the comorbidity factors that can modify the disease processes, and therefore we have to modify the drug delivery. Since we believe in seeing, as a pathologist, we went to the electron microscopy, and here you can see that nanowire cerebrolizing, when given in a animal model of Alzheimer's disease, the preservation of myelin is much more better than the cerebrolizing given alone. Then we met Dr. Harry Kyoto. He is also chemistry Nobel. And then he said that, of course, this is a very good idea of nanotechnological delivery, but one should test different kinds of nanodelivery. I have very less time, so I am showing only a few examples. The point is that we have used the same drug cerebrolizing using PLGA. These are soft nanoparticles. Dr. Tosi from University of Modena, he has done these for us, and you can see that the drug level is very high for longer time. And the point is that we compared this titanium nanowire delivery of cerebrolizing and PLGA delivery of cerebrolizing. In both cases, they were working very fine, but even the nanowire cerebrolizing has much more better effect than PLGA delivered cerebrolizing. So we believe that where is the problem in clinical cases? We hardly find two clinical cases same. There are many other factors that produces problems in therapeutic development. Briefly, I will show you some examples in concussive head injury, some kind of drugs. And here you can see we have developed a model of concussive head injury. In this case, when the impact is delivered on the right side, we have much more damage on the left side. This is representing a counter 2 mechanism. And at electron microscopy, you can also see that uninjured left side after injury is much more fluid. Not only that, the nanoparticles, even the temperature, ambient temperature is affected. If the same injury is done at 5 degrees Celsius in cold environment or 34 degrees Celsius, we have much more cell damage than in controlled 23 degrees Celsius situations. Then we are asked by Chinese government to try some of these Chinese traditional medicine using nanodelivery. And we did for experiments to prove our hypothesis. And you can see these are our friend Dr. Feng at Shijiazhuang International Bethune Hospital. What we can see that they have a drug called NDP. This is a Chinese traditional medicine. When it was given 60 milligram normally, it is doing some good in reducing brain injury. But when we have given with nanowire delivery, the drug effect are much more better than the drug alone. So again, the delivery method, same drug can have much better effect when it is delivered using nanotechnology. These are just some examples. The same thing is also happening in nanodelivery of cerebrolizing in same kind of model. So I can tell you here, making point that even small factors like external temperatures, cold or hot, environmental pollutants can affect the pathology of disease, including hypertension, diabetes. I do not have time to show more of the things. This is Dr. Andrew Shalley, and we are working on a small fragments of CRF that on which he got Nobel Prize in Physiology and Medicine in 1977. We are nano-delivering those small fragments either alone or together with cerebrolizing to see we can have better effects or not. These experiments the results will be available soon. And of course, the nano-delivery is the key. Here you can see these scientists support the idea of nano-delivery as well. And finally, showing some of the spinal cord injury. This is the ex-governor of Symp Arkansas. He is helping us in that way. Spinal cord injury, I will show you some of the examples briefly. This is our model of a spinal cord injury, and we have first exposed to silica dioxide, and you can see that silica exposure induces wider pathological changes in the spinal cord. You can also see here that the cell loss is almost complete. Then the point is that, coming to that question, if we use same kind of nanotechnology to 10 drugs, do we have same results? The answer is no. Nanodelivery can enhance the basic properties of the drug, but cannot make a bad drug to good drug. And these are the examples here you can see. There are lots of drugs we have tried. The best drug is on this side. This side is the best drug, this is the worst, and you can see that some of the drugs tried are in between. So the point is that nano delivery cannot make a bad drug to good drug, but it can only enhance its basic effects. We have to try. And this is an example that good drug is given. With nano delivery, it is much more better than the untreated one. So I can only say that nanomedicine helps enhancing the effect. Maybe it is working faster, better in different kinds of situations. Of course, the dose is also lower down. And this is a big project, and our former Prime Minister of the country is also supporting us. Finally, in 2 minutes, I will show you another problem, that is high altitude pathology. We are working together with various organizations, and as you can see that if you get injury at high altitude, it is also going to be much more worse than in the normal land environment. And we are also trying different kinds of drugs using cerebrolizing or XYZ drugs. We can say that in those situations, if the injury is occurring at high altitude, nano drug delivery is much better than the normal drug. The idea is that we have much more edema and much more higher intracranial pressure if the injury is given at high altitude. These are the data from US military, and the idea is that we have tested nano-wire delivery of cerebrolizing that has superior effect than normal in these situations. And finally, I can tell you, I have told you nanoparticles are, if given, having adverse effect. Drugs are having good effect if they are given using nano delivery. I am showing some example that even in enriched environment, that is the project of University of Basque Country, we are working with that, can also facilitate the good effects of the drugs. That is the last model in Parkinson's disease. And here you can see this is Asia that is working, she is delivering, producing nano delivery of the drugs. And we are using another kind of labeling. These are the nanospheres. We can inject cerebrolizing, and you can see the drug level is released slowly. And in these situations, when 6-hydroxydopamine induced Parkinson's disease was developed, you can see here, in this case, the enriched environment given cerebrolizing is doing much more better than the same cerebrolizing is given under normal situations. So there are many factors that can influence the outcome of the pathology when the drug treatment is given. So we are working on many future aspects, and we see that how we can modulate the pathological aspect and drug delivery. These are our themes, and it is supported by various organizations. I'm not going through it, and I stop here. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Professor Sharma. And now I really would like to give the floor to Professor Alberto Rovetta. Professor Alberto Rovetta is